Hello. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Christine Eltz, and if you're here to see how to easily create your first learning portal, you've come to the right place. In just a few minutes, I'm going to show you just how quick and easy it is to use ClickLearn Attain to create learning materials for your end users that will help them to embrace and easily adopt the new application that you have worked so hard to create. Our agenda is very simple. We're going to create a project, record a process, and make a few edits, build a structure to add your materials to it, then produce and publish your learning portal. Now, let's see Attain in action. Here is ClickLearn Attain. This is the home page, and this is where we're going to create your first learning portal. For those of you that are ClickLearn Studio authors from way back, this is going to be a new experience for you as well. The user face is much more robust. It's going to be much more intuitive, easy for you to be able to find the parts that you need to quickly put your materials together. The biggest plus is that ClickLearn Attain is now cloud-based. So any of the other authors on your team that are creating materials will be invited into your project. So all of the materials that will be created for your learning portal will be in one concise location. No more searching around for any locations where a file might have been saved on a hard drive. It will now all be cloud-based right here within your project. Here in the home screen, we've got a variety of places you can see in the top left and the top right where we can create projects. We have basic sorting and filtering, ascension, descending kind of refresh, always be able to refresh on your page. But for us to get started to creating a new project, we're going to come right up here and select projects. There's a short navigation tree that we're just going to go through very quickly. First of all, we're going to identify the project type, which is our content project. You're here to learn how to create your learning portal. How do we want to set up the project? We're going to make sure that we are the author. We are new to ClickLearn, so now we're going to select Next. Here's where, if you know that you have additional team members that are going to need to be creating materials as well, you can invite them from the authors list. You can send out an invitation to the user. They will get a link that can then give them the access to come here into your project. I could always decide later, so we're going to leave that as such. Now I'm going to select what is the connector that I want to use. I'm going to use our CE customer engagement, and then I can select what version. Here's where the deployment, big game changer here. The deployment to the Content Cloud, best, easiest, safest way to distribute your content to your learners, to get all of your authors on the same project. Super duper handy. We're going to stay with our Content Cloud. There are others that you can explore as well, but for our purposes, we're going to stay right in our Content Cloud. Now we also pick the localization or the globalization, depending upon how you look at things. So if you do happen to have global business, you have offices in other parts of the world, you can go ahead and choose. You can see right here that I can add new languages. So as I create my material in whatever my native language would be, then I'd be able to go through the process for selecting other languages. We're going to go ahead and leave it with our English US, and we're going to use a classic template. If you are a ClickLearn Studio Classic user, you can see here that you can import template settings from existing projects. So when you migrate your recordings from your ClickLearn Studio into ClickLearn Attain, you'll also be able to bring your template in as well. We're going to stay with our classic template, and now we're going to give our project a name. You can be as clever as you want. You can give it as many colors. You can change the icon if you'd like. So we can go ahead and here's my home for my Tech Days resources. If I want to provide a little example, I could do that as well. So here's my tree being built. I'm ready to confirm. Now I want to create my project. Yay, here's my first my Tech Days resource project. You can see that it's popped up here as my most recent project. So when I come here into my project, I'm now ready to go ahead and begin recording. The first time I come here, I don't have any recordings, so I need to either create a new recording or I can import recordings from my previous ClickLearn Studio. So any of the materials that you have created or authored before will never be lost. You don't have to worry about duplicating them manually. You'll be able to migrate all of those recordings here into your project, and then you can go through an editing and review process at that time. For our purposes, we're going to start recording. Let's give our recording a name. If you're going to be using a script from an Excel spreadsheet, or if you are the subject matter expert and you know what that process is that you want to be able to capture, we're going to do that right now. I'm going to leave it at my English US, and it's going to place it right into my recordings folder inside my project. If I want a little guided assistance while I become familiar with the application, I could always start my guide. ClickLearn now presents me with the recording panel on the right side of my screen. You can see it's got my recording name. I'm going to switch it to an automatic step process, and now let's go ahead and record our steps. ClickLearn goes behind the application, and you can see that it's going to present me with a green rectangle, and that is my traveling companion. So as I highlight whatever the step is that I want to click on, ClickLearn is going to be right here with me while I do that. So if I want to come here to my accounts level and then come into one of my particular application accounts, and you can see that anywhere that I highlight, if I want to highlight one of these tabs to go for additional information, if I want to be able to enter information in a field here, if I want to come up and create a new account, I have all of those right at my fingertips. Our purpose today is we're just going to verify some information. So let's verify an account name and their phone number. Make sure we have a valid website for them. And then using the control keys on the keyboard, I'm ending my recording. ClickLearn is letting me know, here's all the steps that you've captured, all looks good to me, and then here I stop my recording. My recording has been successfully captured. I have a choice of either starting the editor or putting it into the recording list, so I'm just going to show you once I add it to my recording list. ClickLearn has added it right here to my home page in my project. So here's my Tech Days resource library. Here's my recordings folder. Here is the recording that we just created. If I want to be able to preview my recording, as I open it up, it opens to a web page. It's got the neatly cropped screen captures. It has all of my templated text, and I can look through and review and see if I want to be able to make any updates or if I want to use a replay function maybe to clear up some of the hanging banners. But in addition to the web page, ClickLearn has also already produced the Show Me, Try Me, Test Me video, the Word, the PDF, the PowerPoint, and it's given me my live assistant. So as I make any edits or changes, not only will it be updating the web page, but it will also push all of those changes into those different learning formats as well. So if I want to simply replay so that I'll have a nice, quick, clean capture, I'm going to come here to my drop-down list, choose Replay. I don't necessarily want to replay it into a new language. I just want to have it nice and clean so that I don't see any hanging banners or any other disturbance. Now when I select Next, ClickLearn now presents me with a recording pane, again on the right-hand side. So now when I select to start replaying, ClickLearn gives me a little notice. Do not touch the mouse. Do not touch the keyboard. I got it from here. So in a moment, you're going to see ClickLearn looking at the steps that we've just gone through, and it's going to take and follow them along and very quickly go through all of those steps. ClickLearn has now gone through the process, and the replay has completed successfully. We can now go and edit our recording. With our preview pane on the right-hand side and our steps on the left, we can go very quickly through the steps and decide what kind of editing. Notice we have the written editor, a video editor, an assist editor, a flow editor, and a data editor. Lots of information that on any level you can go ahead and make edits and updates to, but we want to make sure that we have our first recording ready for our end users just as quickly as can be. So one of the things that I'm going to look at is my second step. I see that rather than just have one account, I can ask ClickLearn to help me do a little edit and say, can you make that available so that my end user can select any row in that column? Using the edit functionality right here in the middle, we can change it so that any row, we can change the instructions to the target, and we're also going to be changing the text. Simply going to save that change, and you'll see here in a moment, ClickLearn does two things. It changes the text in the template, and it also changes that data element, so our end user will be able to select any item in that row. Then when I get to thinking that I'm going to be having a web page, we're going to have documentation that can be printed out. We're going to have PowerPoints that are going to be created as well as videos. If I want to save a little time, rather than have my end users look at the same 3 pages or 3 screens, because all of these items are in the same place, I can group them together. So now I'm going to highlight those steps. I'm going to come right up here and use adding a new group. And I'm going to tell my end users to, I want to change it from a numbered list to a bulleted list. And now I want to use the image editor. So on the fly, I can take and make edits to the area where all of those data elements are going to be. Now when I save my changes, ClickLearn has provided me my nice bulleted list. It's given me the title for my grouping, and it's given me that very neat little screen capture showing all of the data elements right there for my end users to be able to review. I'm pretty happy with the way that my editing is done. So now we're going to save our information and we're going to close our file. Now we're going to take a look at the structure. The structure is actually, we're going to be creating the Learning Portal shelf. From here, we can add sections. For those ClickLearn Studio users, think of it as the books that you would put on the shelf. Once we drag and drop that here, now we can come and give this book a title. Being that this is about the customers and the accounts and the contacts, I'll be able to put my recordings into this customers folder. I could also change the icon around. We have a nice gallery. I can add a divider. If I want to add a hyperlink, if I have the address for that hyperlink, I can give my text for what that hyperlink is. And finally, here's our recording that we've just created. So we could go ahead and add that in as well. If I want to be able to put it into that customer's book, now that I have my recording in place, I could go ahead and make some edits to that icon as well. All of these edits we've just done, let's take a look at what we've created. Here we have our customers section. Here's our recording. Here's my show me, try me, test me video. Here's my Word, my PDF, and PowerPoint. Here's my web page with my feedback panel at the bottom. If I want to be able to try any of my learning materials, here I have all of my videos, my downloadable documents. I can come back through my navigation tree. I could also test my hyperlink. Now, next step would be to come and publish our material. We're going to follow through a couple of steps. We're almost there. We're going to select our content cloud, our English language. We're going to make sure we have our information made public. ClickLearn is now producing all of the content. All of the materials that we've put on our structure is going to be created and put into a HTML hyperlink. We'll be able to take that hyperlink and then insert it into your application, into a SharePoint site, into a learning management system. With our production completed and our publishing done, now all we have to do is take and gather our HTML link and look at it from the perspective of how our end users will be able to see the work we've done. They should look familiar. This looks just like the preview when we were looking as we were building our structure. Again, you could see the customers verifying the information.
Click on the item accounts. Click on the link and cell, Alpine Ski House, sample, on any row.
And our recordings. So our videos are available, our downloadable documents are available, any reference information, because we are context sensitive. So anything that would pertain to where we are at that account level will show in your reference list. Here's our help icon. And here's where you'll see that context sensitive information. So if I need help with how to create an account, because I am down here on the account level, my live assistant will now guide me through that process. So it will give me the helpful information that I've added or edited. It's going to let me know what materials I need if I've added or edited them. Now I'm going to be guided to how to create that new account. And once I get through, my end user, whether I'm a day one user or an employee that hasn't used this part of your application in a while, I will be able to be guided with my instruction in actually creating the material live in your environment. Can't go wrong. One more thing I want to show you back in our ClickLearn Attain. For every project that you create, you will be able to have a very robust dashboard analytics, and you'll be able to see how all of these can be exported out via an Excel spreadsheet for immediate use of your, if you have KPI or ROI for user adoption measurements as part of your project and program. You'll be able to export this information. You'll be able to see the consumption trend for when people were using the application. You'll be able to see who your users are that have already been tapped into or have started accessing the information. All of this information can then be chunked. Do you want to see it in a week, a month, a quarter, a year? And you could always refresh the data at any time as well. So as you bring a new section on board, as you've created new materials, if you want to be able to refresh the data to reflect what that is going to look like once your end users start accessing that as well. Finally, training, support, and consultancy is always going to be available. Training is out online, HTTP. You can see the hyperlink there. Any kind of technical support. If you have problems along the way, support at clicklearn.com, just a few keystrokes away. And if you haven't been a part of our community yet, or should you decide to become a part of our community, you will have a wealth of information. It'll be ClickLearners, so for ClickLearners by ClickLearners, as well as having your ClickLearn customer support team to be able to be online, answer any questions, show you some tips and tricks, so you are never alone in your ClickLearn Attain journey. Let's take some questions. Peter, let's take a moment and look. Are there any questions to share?
Oh, there definitely are, Christine. Got a couple of few ones here that are already pretty neat. How many recordings can I have on my learning portal?
Oh, that is a good one. It is truly only limited by how many recordings you want to create for all of the different solutions that you're going to be using ClickLearn for in your for your learning libraries.
Then we got another one here. It says that structure looks really cool. Can I put my external documents directly on that portal?
You sure can. There are a couple of methods. First, you can link the document using the hyperlink function on the learning portal if those documents are publicly shared on a server someplace else, or simply put those into the assets folder inside your project and then add those items directly into your recording where your end users can have them at their fingertips when they need it the most.
Wow. Then we got one here. Oh, this is a good one. How many different places can I place the learning portal link in? Can I have it in multiple places at the same time?
Definitely. Great two-part question. So you can certainly have multiple locations where your learning library, your learning portal can be accessed. You can embed it ideally into your application that you've created all of your learning materials for. You can also put it on a SharePoint site, or if you have a learning management system in your organization that has a learning library or a section, you could also embed that link there as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah, see, we're running out of time, but we got one final one here that I think we should get in there, and then we can, of course, get answers on the community later on. But here, what level of details will I get from the dashboard analytics?
Oh, this one speaks right to my heart. So if you have KPIs, key performance indicators that are part of your project milestones, you are going to love this dashboard. You can see which end users are accessing which recordings. You can see who has provided comments or feedback on a recording. You can vary the time span for data analysis by the week, by the month, do it quarterly or yearly. But most importantly, there is no post-survey forms that you have to send out that will leave you waiting for or hoping for a response back. Your learning portal captures the user adoption metrics as each end user accesses the material. From wherever you have that link, you'll be able to get that feedback by that single sign-on process.
Brilliant.
That's a great way to wrap up. I appreciate all of the questions that have been posed. Thank you, Peter, for sharing this time with me.
Oh, you're so welcome, and thank you so much for showing us how to create our first learning portal.
Thank you.